Hey, how's it going? Today I'm just going to talk. I don't have a show or a movie. Is I wanted to talk about something that's been bothering me for a while, and it has to do with variations for one thing, and by that I mean think of things like animals like cats and dogs or any other animal, but cats and dogs are familiar to us, so let's go with that. You know, there's different breeds, yes, and then you could also move the same sort of thinking into coffee, which comes in different varieties, yes. So how about another thing? How about your football teams? Well, they all come from a different state and they all have a different name. And I'm just talking like the NFL, not like all the gazillions of other football teams out there that I could name, but they also apply in just that people tend to get behind a certain one and that's their team. That's what they're going to stick with. That's what they're going to be behind. They're going to ride or die. And I don't know if that's so healthy. It also applies to everything else I've mentioned. And so, just to give a level, a basis to what I'm going to go forward talking about, and it is that the thing that triggered me is actually a person, and this person is a prominent one. And I don't want to mention their name because it is the kind of person that could get you in trouble on this channel if you say the wrong thing, I guess, and name that person. So I'm going to stay away from that. But it's someone, everyone in the whole world, just about, who has access to some sort of news feed is going to be familiar with this individual. And before they became the in the position that they're most prominently known for now, they were already pretty well known. In fact, you could probably go to any country and see their name prominently displayed up in the sky. Hint, hint. So, the thing about this person that triggers me, or triggered me, in this occasion, but I guess it's like a wide ranging trigger. It doesn't have to be in any one time. It's just because I observed this person for many years and came to understand that they're not a good person for a lot of reasons, and they're all out there. It's about the way they conduct themselves and the way that they address other individuals and the things that they have to say a lot of times are negative. And I mean, about when they're discussing other people, and it's deliberate. They're not, it's not an accident what they're saying with when they say it about these people that they find fault with, let's say. So what's disturbing about this person is how so many people have fallen in behind them, and what they say their reasons are don't often match up with what I think the reality is, like what I look at and see, but is common right now for a lot of people to be looking at the same thing and see something completely different. And that's to do with our personal biases, which is kind of like what you do when you choose a team or a breed and you stick by that to the exclusion of any other, to the exception of any other. And by exception I mean canceling as a translative word, because we're pretty all aware of the way we are using cancel when we're using it in terms of I cancel that person, I cancel the belief of that person's whatever it is. Which, I mean, we've always done that, but you don't need to like go public with it. It doesn't need a name. It's just like you tire of them. They become tedious or whatever it is, vice versa. But we've always had reasons to decide not to participate with these people or pay attention to them or buy into them, whatever it is. It happens, like I said, it happens to all of us on any level. Like it could be just you're sick of something your brother said, so you cancel the phone calls for a while, whatever it is. But it's being made into such a big deal now, and it's it's beyond what the word says. It's even beyond what the newest interpretation of the word is. It's gotten really uh hmm, gnarly, hardcore, unpleasant. um so I'm still leading up to the thing that actually made me want to come on here and start talking about this. And it is that there's a site that is still on YouTube. And I don't know if things that I used to look at are just out of my algorithm now or if they're just gone. Because some things I have gone to look for on YouTube and they're just gone. So, editing, cleansing, censoring, whatever YouTube is doing, some stuff that I used to see all the time, I cannot find anymore. And the reason why they've gone out of my algorithm is because I stopped looking at them, but didn't mean that I didn't maybe want to go back again. And so this one site is still there, and it always has, or it doesn't always have, but it often has this person, this prominent person's photograph or image in the, what I call it. When you're on YouTube, you get these little boxes, and then they have like the picture of the video, and then you click on it, and you know what happens if you've used YouTube. If you haven't, go look. I don't want to explain it any more than that. But I would see it, and the reason why it triggered me is because what this site talks about, what they portray, what they're all about is when we go through the process of self betterment and then we gain more in the way of spirituality. And by that, I don't mean like religion as we typically refer to it. I don't mean religion at all, actually, because it's not that, it's something else. But to many people, this person is a light worker, and a lot of people have problems with that. And I did and do, except I know better. So I know that in this case of the trigger, which I don't have problems with, I appreciate them because they draw my attention to stuff that I need to address within myself. It doesn't have to do with the thing triggering me, it doesn't have to do with anybody else. It's just that it does something to me that it needs to be dealt with inside of me. And so I'm going to share how I come to terms with things like this that seem kind of like insurmountable, because there's an element of I don't want to stop thinking this way or feeling this way because it feels right and it feels good, but it may be wrong. So even though people have maybe an image of what a light worker is, like a good and true, nice, generous, benevolent person, I think that's typically what, if the light worker is not that, it's what they aspire to. I think it's what I, at least for a long time, expected that person to be. And then I had to stop that because I realized that there's so many shades of everyone. Like I was talking about with the breeds and the varieties. There's so many shades of us people. And I had an experience several months ago. and I was watching the show about the Reagans called The Reagans on Showtime, and I have had a lot of problems with the Reagans, but mainly it was stuff like Reagan getting rid of like mental health coverage, but from there it expands like everything that would lead you to an idea like that. He and his wife, who I'm sorry was a co-president, because she actually really had to mentally support him a lot of times, as well as the other ways of showing him support. But I think since I've seen that docu-series about the Reagans called The Reagans on Showtime, I saw more about them than I previously knew, because unless you specifically were looking to know about them, like reading books and finding stuff to watch about them, as I did not, and that I don't, like that last time with the show I'm talking about was probably the only time I deliberately sought to find out stuff about them or to see what they were about. And I found while watching them that, well, what I found was the validation of the idea that they were co-presidents mainly, but everything else that now we're sort of living through the detritus of is his legacy. Like it was so just like things are now, but it was so much more subtle because we weren't paying as much attention. We weren't catching a lot of the lies and the misleading things that we've been told and sold for generations. But yes, they were deep into that, and I was very offended. Like I already was. And then I watched that. I was like, oh, why did I watch this? It just made me feel bad and angry. And then I saw this other show about the haunted White House. And they had some staff from the White House that I do tours, I think, or, at least they could have done more. I don't know. But in this instance, they were talking about these people as tour guides at the White House. And so uh, they were talking about the ghosts because it was about a haunted White House. And the guide was saying that Lincoln was there often and that he really liked the Reagans. Well, he wasn't alive when the Reagans were in office, or see, I mean, doing it now when Reagan was in office. And I thought, well, that's interesting. But she obviously like caught the scent of what Lincoln wanted to impart, which was that he liked the Reagans. I guess that he was around quite a bit. Now, I feel basically pretty good about Lincoln. I think that he did something very courageous in his time. And I think that we may glorify and pretty up his decision and his part in it. But I mean, he was a man of his era. So I don't think that he was like buddy buddy with the black man. And I think he did absolutely have a lot of the prejudices they had at that time against black people. But I think he also realized on a basic human level that what was being done to them was wrong if it was just for the sake of maintaining this financial economical system in the South. So whatever other problems I may have with him, my God, that was an amazing thing for him to have done. And again, thank you, sir, because still, like, it's holding just barely. They're trying to take it away, but it's still holding the freedom of the black people. So, I said when I heard that, why did he like them? What did he like about them? And so, what's been happening over the past 6 or 7 years is I've been able to sense more of spirit coming through me and speaking to me. And it wasn't right away. Like, I tend to have like a Chihuahua temperament, so my mind is very yippee 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 all the time, and it's hard to like shut it up and slow it down. It's really actually a lot of what my medical marijuana consumption is about. It's a lot. It's about a lot of other stuff too, but it really does aid me in that way to just like slow the f down, like just like to space out so that stuff can get in from spirit. Like if my mind is too busy, it's very difficult for me to receive any kind of information. So it took a couple of days to where I forgot I had asked the question, forgot my agitation about the people in question, and just was calm enough that, and this was awesome. I saw his face, Lincoln's face, and I felt him. He didn't like say words, his mouth didn't move, but I felt him say, "You want to know why I like them? I like them because of the damage he did." And that was interesting. But I've had several years to kind of learn how to think about these things in different ways. And it's a lot of the message you get will be in a metaphor. So you really do have to like think, feel, and sense your interpretations of these visions. So, okay, it was great that they were terrible. And here's why: because they gave us, by doing what they did and so fuster clocking us, that we had to go through it. And by going through it, we have the opportunities to learn no matter which way we go. Either if we learn to be the better from it, or to go the other way and be less good. um, but it's always a learning experience when we're here on earth. Like it just, that's why we're here. We're here to learn how to interact with each other and how um to be kind and to love each other. And the reason why I was kind of having a hesitation with that coming out is because I'm just digressing so much here. I swear I'm going to loop it back around. I just really get irritated when other people are constantly like, be kind, be kind, be kind. And I'm like, mind your own business, mind your own business, mind your own business. Because I feel like, yes, of course, be kind. Like, what kind of dodo doesn't know to not be a jerk or not be mean? I mean, people do it all the time, but I think they know that, like, it's preferred if you did not be mean and a jerk. I think people just do whatever they want to do, you know? So, but yeah, that kind of irritates me because, like, duh, yeah, of course, be kind. you you want people to treat you like, God. I always do these spoonerisms when I get on here and start rolling. You want people to treat you well and not treat you like crap. Well, generally, except for some odd other situations, that's how you get treated well. You treat someone well, and they treat you well in return. But being here on this planet as we are humans right now, we're here to learn. That's why we're here. And what we learn is up to us. And which way we decide to go, light or dark, is going to take us on a different path of learning. And that's about all I really want to say about that. But so Lincoln like kind of imparted that message to me, and I knew a bunch of it already. I knew part of it. I was just having trouble accepting, like, you can stop hating on these people that actually really helped you. And it's like, okay, it's human, it's ego, and I'm working through it. It's hard. It's not easy to realize this stuff and just be like flip on a dime. I can't. Like, it's taken years. And part of it you have already, like part of it you already know how to behave. You already have been, but when you have like your awakening, you sort of realize that there's more you could be doing, you know. So back to the prominent person. So I would see this prominent person on this website or on this channel, and they're all about the ascension. And so I had to go back to Lincoln and the Reagans. And I didn't finish about the Lincoln vision. I need to add the end. So I just need to for my own self. So once I got over the part about, no, it's good what they did, he looked at me and did like this. Or he was smiling, but he smiled and he nodded in a way that reminded me of when my grandfather was teaching me to tie my shoes. And I finally did it right, all on my own. And the way that he looked at me was like, you got it. He also didn't say anything. So it was like the same look. And yeah, I'm getting a chill. Like, bong, bong, bong on the top of my head. And that's usually for me a validation. Well, not usually, that is a validation. Um, that is Lincoln saying, yeah, you got it right. And also my grandfather, too, smiling. So, yeah, keep grinning, old fellas. Anyway, the prominent person. For everyone, I guess, to be able to find a way to grab onto this idea of ascension or just sort of like evolving into better people, we have to understand that everybody doesn't like the same thing. So, this guy, this prominent person, is very much accessible and acceptable to a lot of people. And it's kind of like I have said for a long time, even though I don't like practice religion, I was raised Catholic and that's kind of what ran me out. But I kept like ideals and good things from it in my mind and in my heart, if not from rote repetition, but just because it felt right. And every religion is different, but they all basically go to God under whatever name that particular group of people have assigned it. So, I mean, I always say, I don't think God cares what you call it, it just cares if you call it. And what I'm into now is like outside of religion. It's like evolved above and beyond what I call industrial religion, which is kind of failing all over the world right now. Like people are losing faith in it because it's like the government. It's not really telling you true, and people are starting to feel it and know it. So I kind of got there a long time ago. But this ascension business, this awakening, this spiritual awakening, I can get all the way behind that because that feels 100% right and 100% good. And just because the prominent person appeals to a bunch of other people and not to me doesn't make him any less valid because there are light people and dark people, not skin color, but temperament, behavior. I don't want to say G or B or the evil or whatever because it's not really like that. But if that's what it takes for people to get in the I don't want to say game because it's not a game, but to get into the groove of this, if that's who they need to follow there, it's all good. If they get there eventually, it's great. Um, so I just want to say that because it's been on my mind a lot, and I knew I had to either write something or come on here and say something about it. And I know that a lot of people are still having shows where they're kind of taking apart the guy, and he's not prominent in the way he was anymore, but he's still out there like he was before he became so prominent. So he's a presence still, and he always has had a voice because He's very persistent and says a lot, and he doesn't shut up. So he wants you to hear him. He's that kind of person that's like, I must be heard. And that's fine. I get it. Look at me here talking, so I can't really like disparage the guy too much about that. But yeah, I just thought it was worth sharing that I had to like go through all of that and come to the conclusion that I did, where it doesn't matter if I like him or the way he does stuff. He's still a light worker. He's still, even if he's like working on the dark side of things, he's still he's making a difference. He's made people aware of a lot of things. And I think it's funny that he was supposed to be the crusader that was going to save us from all of this corruption and fraud and fake news, when he was the first person out there talking about fake news, when he was making, not talking about, but he was out there making fake news. If you don't know what that means, look up John Barron and that'll get you there. Rock that search bar. So yeah, just wanted to share that tiny revelation I had, and uh, sort of offer a way to help get over those humps of like, I can't believe this or I can't stand this. Like, yeah, you can. It's all part of it. And, we have the choice to be good or not good to each other. But I don't think, especially now, I think we're all really changing a lot and becoming more empathic. And, well, I know that's true. And I don't think like the ugly way is going to play for much longer. Like, people are really tired of that bullying crap. We just all want to be nice to each other, and we don't have to like call for it all the time. Call call for it all the time. We just have to do it. you know? We and also like, I'm not gonna worry about what other people are doing. I can't. I'm just gonna worry about how I'm doing. And as long as I feel like my scorecard is good, then I'm good. And yeah. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I'm wearing my Wipe Homophobia Ally shirt. They have more ally shirts. They have more shirts that are homo. And they have other shirts that are just funny. I will leave their link in the description box. Thank you and good night.